Hello guys, how are we doing today? It is me, Delaney. I am back at my desk once again to record another episode. I hope that you guys are doing great today, but regardless if you're doing great or not, thank you for deciding to put this podcast on to listen to today. I want to start out this episode by just giving a huge thank you. I'm feeling really grateful for how things have been going with this podcast so far, and I am just really thankful for every single person that listened to this podcast or shared it with family and friends, every person that reached out to me personally, individually, and just gave me words of encouragement and let me know that they enjoyed this. It really does mean a lot, more than I think you guys even know. So, yeah, thank you guys so much. So, as you guys may have noticed, this podcast was on Spotify and YouTube. So, I just wanted to give a quick rundown real fast that I'm still trying to figure out the Apple Music scene. Once I can figure out how to get this on Apple Podcasts, it will be on there. I'm figuring it out. I don't think it's going to take that long to figure out. I just need to really put my mind to it here. So keep your eyes peeled. It's going to be on Apple Podcasts. That's one of my main goals for hopefully before this episode, if not, definitely before the next episode. And also, I'm trying to stick to a schedule. I'm hoping that I can get one episode a week out on Mondays at 8 a.m. Central Time. That would be 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Pacific Time. So just give you guys a little something to listen to, hopefully on your drive to work or while you're getting ready in the morning or something like that. I want to, start out everyone's weeks well, including my own. And so I just thought Monday mornings would be the perfect time for that. So with all of that, let's go ahead and dive into the first segment of today's podcast, and that is going to be our hot take of the day. Today's hot take that I wrote down that I believe is going to tie into our Silent Center a little later on is you can have an enjoyable experience as a loser. A little bit about my personal experience. Both of the teams that I played on in college volleyball were not winning programs. I was only on one team throughout my 5 years where we actually finished, I believe, with a winning record. If not, it was a 500 record, but I believe it was a winning record. So why do I think that you can have an enjoyable experience while also not being a winner? I think in my personal experience, winning is absolutely not everything. It is so much more profitable, in my opinion, to be happy and be losing than it is to be miserable while you're winning. So what do I mean by this? I mean, imagine going to a practice or going to a game or whatever you're doing every single day, and you're working hard, you're grinding it out, you're doing all of this, but you're just like miserable. There's coaches harping on you, your teammates are all down, you're down. That's just not fun. Even if you get to the weekend and you play a game and you win, it's great for like 10 minutes. And then you're back to practice, you're back to your day-to-day, you're back to another week of being miserable. I've been there. I've been in the situation where I'm on a team and we're working really hard to win. We want to win these games. And I'm not saying that hard work is bad. I'm saying that you've got negative forces from whoever that are just making your experience not happy. So even though you might be winning more games, you are not happy. And another big part of this to me is that when you are in a middle school sport, a high school sport, a college sport, beyond that level, you don't look back and remember wins and losses. I don't look back and think about the times that I messed up a point or I should have gotten this, I should have gotten that. No, I hardly even remember that. I don't remember like a Sunday game that we lost and I played terrible. I hardly ever think about that. What I think about way more often are the people and the memories and the experiences that I had with positive influences in my life. So, what I'm saying is that while winning is important and you should be working hard to try to be better and try to be a winner, it's not everything. You can't dig yourself and drive yourself into a hole just because you want to be successful, because you want to be the best in the country. When you think about it, there's only one team every year that gets to end their season on a win, you know? Or I guess that's not 100% true because, there's teams that won't make a tournament, they end on a win. But I think you guys understand my point. Everyone is going to, or most everyone is going to end on a loss. Things are going to be tied off with a bow in a less than exciting way. And being in the position that I'm in now, looking back, I just have such fond memories of times with my teammates and like fun times in a hotel on the road or fun times after a practice with my friends or going to a study room and having a silly time or things like that. It's so silly, but it's really true that you are not going to remember your wins and losses columns as much as you're going to remember good times that you had with your friends and good times that you had with teammates and such and all of that, which kind of ties into what I was talking about last week about how coaches are going to be put in places where they're trying to bring you down, whether intentionally or not, it happens. And you just need to advocate and work for yourself to try to not let that affect you as much as possible. Just work hard, and what happens, happens. Having that positive mindset is so much more important than having to win every single game to feel value in yourself as an athlete. So, all of that being said, that is my wonderful, beautiful hot take of the day. Not very exciting, but I hope you guys understood my point. With that being said, we do have a silent sender today. It is not just me again. So I hope that makes you guys a little excited. It makes me excited. I'm very excited to read this to you guys. So, today's silent sender is a Division I women's volleyball player that is or was on a team that was decently all right, So, and I'm not going to use school names. I'm not going to do any of that. I don't want people coming after me. I'm not here for that. I'm trying to be more of a storyteller / advice giver than a hater, if that makes sense. So, the quote from the silent sender says, "Blank coaches are bullies and like to, quote, play God in their players' lives. They will make up stories about you and spread them throughout athletics, making you doubt who you actually are. They do not care about well-being. They only care about winning." And that is, as we can tell, very similar to my hot take of the day, in the vein where my silent sender said they do not care about well-being, they only care about winning. So I'm sure that this resonates with more than one person listening to this. I've been through times in my athletic career where coaches or staff or people are kind of skewing words that you're saying or making up a narrative about you that you don't believe to be 100% true to kind of single you out. I've seen it happen before in other programs and other athletes where you get completely singled out, and it's a very hard to describe feeling. It's super humiliating and super embarrassing. And I saw it happen in my own teammates where, you know, maybe someone overheard something that you're saying and they take it completely out of context, and now there is a rumor flying or just a complete lie made up and being told to other people. And now you have teammates that are against you. You have maybe captains on the team that are reprimanding you for things that happened or things that didn't even happen. And it kind of can feel like a pit, like you've dug this hole and now you can't get out of it, but the hole really wasn't even dug intentionally. It was kind of more of a landmine under you that you accidentally stepped on. So I do see this most often in coaches, in my own personal experience, and it is true. And I do somewhat, on a very light level, understand not the part about making up lies and not that stuff, but I do believe that they care less about your well-being than they care about winning. And that is because it's their job to win, and they have to produce results to hold a job and hold a stable livelihood. Now, I don't believe that that excuses or allows them to treat players the way that they do in certain cases. I am not saying that all coaches that you ever play for or get recruited by or any of this are awful people or are people that want to see you fall, want to watch your downfall, and just watch from the sidelines. It can be super, super difficult to tell what a coach's intentions are until you are living in that moment. I would honestly say err on the side of caution when dealing with coaches, especially if you don't really know them. I mean, when you think about getting recruited, you meet them, 5 or 6 times? And, maybe in total you've talked to them or met them for like 12 hours. Let's just say that. You don't really know who they are as a person. You don't know what their intentions are. You don't know which way they lean, whether they want you to be more well or if they care more about the winning side. There's a balance that can be achieved, but unfortunately, I do think that most coaches miss the mark in achieving that balance. And another thought on what the Silent Sender said, saying that their coaches liked to, quote, play God and kind of aim your life in a direction that you don't really want it to go. I think, and it's like a sad and hard truth, that this happens to a lot of people, and it just feels like sometimes this business can be corrupt. And I mean, I think we're seeing this in a big insurgence right now on TikTok. I don't know about you guys, but I've seen a lot of people on TikTok telling their stories about college athletics or posting those little slideshows where there's like stories on each slide. And it's been kind of beautiful to see people kind of regain their voice and play God on their own time and decide how they want their life to be instead of letting a coach dictate how their life is going to be or push them in a direction that they don't want to be pushed. I mean, I remember in my personal life, I was at one point attempting to graduate early. Spoiler, that did not happen, but I was trying to graduate early at one point at my first university. And I remember my coach going in secretly. I had no indication or clue that this was happening, but my coach went in and told my athletic advisor that she did not want that to happen, or she wanted me for the full 4 years when I was trying to get done in 3.5 years. And that is just kind of what the Silent Sender was talking about. Like, coaches are trying to play God and direct your life in a path and put you in situations that you didn't even intend on putting yourself in the first place. It can be so stressful when something like this happens to you, and unless you've lived through it, you don't really understand the stress and anxiety that this can cause. I would encourage you, if you are an athlete or if you are about to be an athlete, to just, it sounds bad, but protect yourself. And if something like this happens, or if there are rumors flying about you or things taken out of context about you, just don't let it affect you in the way that some of these people want it to affect you. Sometimes things just happen. They shouldn't happen, but they do happen. And you need to kind of think, in a week, this isn't going to matter. Or in a month, this isn't going to matter. In a year, this isn't even going to be a thought in my brain. So just get through it. And it's really hard. And it's really, can be really isolating. So I just encourage you guys to take care of yourselves if you are an athlete and this is something that is happening to you. It is something that a lot of us go through. So I want to give a big shout out to the Silent Sender for sending that in to me. She did leave the university name. I am not going to include that in this episode, but I do appreciate her for sharing that with me and just trusting in me to handle her story this way. And I hope that I can prove to you guys or show to you guys or earn your trust with your stories and that type of stuff. So that's gonna end this episode here. I know this is a shorter episode. I'm still trying to figure out my formatting and how I want this to go and have plenty of things to talk about and discuss. You know, it can be kind of hard to do on my own time, and just like as a solo person. I'm not talking to anyone. So I appreciate you guys. Again, this podcast will definitely be on Spotify and YouTube. Potentially will be on Apple. So you can listen to this podcast on every Monday at 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time on any of those platforms. And just a reminder, we are on TikTok and we are on Instagram, and that is going to be at Silent Sender Pod. Again, that is at Silent Sender Pod, no spaces, no nothing. If you want to submit your Silent Sender stories, please go ahead and direct yourself to the Instagram page or to the description of this video, where the link will be put to submit those stories. The link is also on the Instagram, as I believe I just said. And on TikTok, there is no link yet. I'm jumping through some hoops to get that put up there. But I hope you guys can trust me to carry these stories for you. And I appreciate you guys for sticking around on this journey. If you listened to this episode, I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you guys all are taking care of yourselves. The world can feel kind of like a scary place right now, or a dark place for some of us. I know that for sure. So take care of yourselves, love yourselves, keep working hard, and do things how you want them done. Be your own biggest advocate. Thanks for listening, guys, today. I hope you all have a blessed week and a wonderful day. Peace out.